Welcome to this screen recording, Lazy Linux from Scratch. Basically, this is inspired into the Linux for Scratch project, where actually for educational purposes you can actually go through the whole book and learn how to install a Linux operating system. I attempted to achieve this one a while back, even about the book. However, there were some problems because the live CD did not allow to install all the files required to make a successful Linux from Scratch installation. So I just read the book and cannot see the copy paste. However, just recently I saw a video from Anton called Linux from Scratch Anton. He did an excellent job. It's a series of videos where actually he takes and copy the book from the start to the end, following the guidelines from the book posted on the website. So this little Linux from Scratch from Anton, I think, is a great repository where it can help us to walk and see all the steps on the Linux installation based on VirtualBox. Based on that, I thought, well, I can actually do something similar, but being lazy, I like to put everything in a script that actually can do for me. So in GitHub, create a project Lazy Linux from Lazy fully scripted Linux from scratch, LFS, and have a repository where we can start with a simple file, simple shell script, but basically the only thing it does is download the required files like more scripts, everything's shell scripts, and how to, and it goes in the same order from beginning to the end. So let's get started and see if we can get it going installing the base system. The first part of the script is going to go all the way, and this video is going to include the introduction, preparing the build, getting the packages and patches required, doing the final preparations, and doing the construction of the temporary systems all the way. And that's where we're going to stop the video one. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically on VirtualBox, I can create a Linux from scratch machine, and it's going to be based on Linux. I want to assign 2 gigs of RAM, 2048. When you create a virtual disk, the book recommends to have a 10 gig dynamically allocated. I'm going to go ahead and follow that recommendation with 10 gigs. And one more thing I like to set up here is on the CD. Let's go ahead and start with X Ubuntu as the base operating system to install it. And the part of the network, I like to go ahead and SSH into the box. So let's go ahead and put some port forwarding rules from the. I like to SSH in a different port than 22 just for security. I want to use 2222, but I also like to have secure copy ability, so I'll get both of them added. That's about it. I can actually fire up the virtual machine, get started, and basically what it's going to do is takes the X Ubuntu CD, live CD, and it's going to boot the operating system. Very minimum, nothing really fancy or nothing really complicated here. Just a virtual machine with an X Ubuntu, 10 gig partition, 2048 megs or 2 gigs of RAM, and that's about it. So we want to use this base operating system to create a Linux from scratch, lazy, fully scripted Linux from scratch. Actually, we're not going to go to copy paste one thing at a time because I'm lazy and I don't like to repeat myself. So let's go ahead and get us started with the partitions we're going to be installing. I'm going to use gparted, which is part of the system. I want to do a device, create a partition table, MS-DOS, that's fine. I want to create my first partition, which is going to be, the book recommends 100 megs boot partition. And it's going to be an extension 2, so it can be readable for all systems, and it's going to be boot. That's it. I want to add another one. The rest of the system is going to be extension 4. I call it system. And that's about all we need. You just want to click OK. And yes, I want to do all the operations right now. It's going to format the partitions. It's going to do its allocation and initialize the drive. Once it does that, X Ubuntu is going to mount automatically the partitions. So it mounted boot. I want to dismount it. I need to mount it on my own. I don't need to be automatically. And then goes the system, which as well I need to be dismounted because I'm not using it here. That's the first part. Initialize the drives. I want to get a terminal. And here we are. I also need probably a browser just to kind of open a web browser here to copy the first initial script. Let's go ahead and go files. Firefox is the one. Let me go to GitHub real quick. And I want to do is want to look for a project called Lazy Fully Scripted LFS Linux from scratch LFS almost like LFS square. And there's the repository. I can see the get started, which has the same order for the scripts, how it's going to be executed. Eventually, I'll probably work in a phase 2 to put X. I want to see on raw, so everything just in a folded raw text. And I want to copy this URL. What I want to do in the X Ubuntu, I want to get the file wget. So there it is. Let's make it executable. Chmod 755 on the script. And if we take a look, it's basically just wget a bunch of files. So let's go ahead and get it. Execute it, and it's going to pull a bunch of files. And now that it's done, we can see that we have all the LFS files, just like it pulled it directly from the web repository. So basically on this, the LFS, this is the repository, this is the files that I actually got. We want to execute in this order. We want to start with the initial Ubuntu. So going back here to my virtual machine, if I do initial Ubuntu, basically what I see is it's apt just install SSH, htop, and screen, and it starts the SSH daemon and just put a password for the X Ubuntu so we can SSH into it. So sounds reasonable. Let's go ahead and execute the script. Is when I start doing the apt to install the SSH, screen, and htop to keep track of the progress. And this is just a standard Ubuntu package manager, nothing fancy here. And this one asks us for a password. I want to do X Ubuntu. Yes, I want to call just X Ubuntu. Same thing. It's going to be just temporary. This doesn't mean nothing. And that being said, I can actually go there and open PuTTY. I want SSH on port 222, and I can get connected before. I can go ahead and run it and get my connection going here as X Ubuntu. The password. There's the file. Oh, I want to start a screen session. I want to do as root this one. Another session as a regular user. And one thing, good practice, we want to be doing, I can see my partitions that was created, 199 megs. So I want to do, port LFS equals mount LFS. Very used. I also want to do the same thing on this path here as the X Ubuntu user for now. All right, very good. X Ubuntu got it. Root got it. Nice. So now, just for the purpose of this video, I want to change the font on this to make it easier for the viewers. And let's go ahead and look to the LFS get started file. So basically, we run initial Ubuntu. Ported. I have a little issues with ported because somehow it couldn't do the grub install. Basically, just does the ported on devices DA with the partitions and it creates the extensions, but somehow it doesn't sync or allocate. Something's probably missing with this script. I need to look into that, but let's go ahead and carry on, assuming that we just did that on the GUI, so we just move forward. Let's go to the requirements check. This is from the book. Basically, just checks if something's all the dependencies are there or not. Might going a little bit better so you can see it. Nice. Okay. So if we execute this, which is actually from the book, it's going to tell us that something's missing. If I want to be more specific, and I can just type on rep not, and basically this is the things that we need to fix. Luckily, this part has the little the requirement check. This part has the ability to install the packages that are required. So I can take a look to that script and see that basically it's your configure dash, put everything, all the dependencies, so I can just basically do sudo install the files. It's going to just do the same thing. This is going to be no. Everything else is going to be just following the Ubuntu package installer. The dependencies should actually be included. No more requirements, no more need to check anything else for this particular version. And so it should put us in good shape in terms of packages and dependencies, which is makes it really nice, the application manager, to get all the packages and put it there. It's effortless, just copy paste literally and a couple things. And this is just finishing the last dependencies. If I go back for the requirements install, so, requirements check. Requirements check. There's absolutely nothing port now, so everything looks like it's okay, which is good. It's quite nice. Now that we have this part on the requirements check, requirements install, it's time to get us the files. It's time for actually to take a look, and if I do cat on that file to take a look, basically what it does, exports the variable mount LFS, makes a directory, mounts a directory, makes sources, change the permissions on the sources, change to that folder, and basically start doing wget on all the list and pulls all the files. Let's go ahead and run this one as root. So not that it's necessary, but actually for the creation of the files and mounting that is required, that's the only thing. And I can actually give it a shot, and it's doing his thing. If I go back in the other session and go to the LFS sources, I can see that actually is building this downloading file. The files at 17 so far. Should be getting more now. 18. And it's just pulling every single file that is right there. And 22, 24. So this might take a little while just to kind of finish us around 88 files. When I let the video just continue moving, but basically is what is happening right now, downloading all the files, all the dependencies. .36. So I want to just let the video finish on that part. Finish to download all the files, getting all the dependencies. Also, the file is going to do a check. It pushes the MD5 and checks the MD5 for values. So in sources, right now, if I go to the once it finishes, I'm changing the screens between with the screen. I have a session control alt next, control A N, and control A and goes back and forward, so I can switch between Xubuntu or root without having a tab. So right now it's getting there. 65 files, 72, maybe like around 88 or so. 76. util, udev, util Linux. So basically, to download all the files is going to be able just to put it in the right place. We're able to run the script and just uncompress, compile, and go through the build the first temp system, and that's where we're going to stop the video in that time, because that takes about a little bit over 2 hours in a really fast system. It's done. Nice. So now we can see that we have a total of 88. That's correct. We have the files, the MD5 sums. If I check the MD5 sums, everything's looking good. If I do a grep of fail, nothing returns, so actually everything's looking really good in terms of the checksums, which is kind of nice. Now I'll go back here to the main root, get files started. So we got the files, the final preparations, which actually basically what it does is actually creates a directory tools, adds to a group, change the permissions, and sets up a LFS users and asks for set up the password. So that's what actually is doing. What I want to do here is as root is going to do to execute, and I want to put just LFS password. I have added. Now after that, the final preparation. This is set up LFS user with a profile, the environment variables, and look here. What it does basically, it sets up the environment variables for the user. Just kind of put in the bash profile. So what I want to do is actually sudo copy this file home LFS. It's going to be accessible in their own space. And now I have it. I just execute it as LFS. If I do echo LFS, it's mounted correctly. Last but not least, after the setup LFS, which is when this was done as the LFS user, it's time to start building and compiling the temporary system where we want to stop this video. And actually what we do here, sudo copy this file to the sources directory, and it's going to be executable from there. So I want to copy this file to the, I go back here as LFS, I can go back to the LFS sources, and I can see that actually there's the file. And if I execute a temporary, let's take a look. That LFS temporary IPS. So basically, starts the date, shell script, set the date, so we can start putting a log file on slfs temp syslog. It goes to the tar bin utils, which is the first file of the book according to the installation. So basically, that just refers to this part of the script. Basically, went to bin utils and do tar exec bin utils, cd bin utils, make the directory, just following pretty much the instructions that actually they're copying and pasting right here. And do the configure and make install and change and so on and so forth. It goes through all the files, everything on that until finish the installation of the temporary system. We want to be ending with installing xv as the last file of the packages. And if we can see, the last file is actually xc and strips and some other things. It's going to show a message, who's the man at the end. So that being said, without any other further ado, I think we're just going to do execution of the temporary file system. I'll say fire in the hole. So when it's starting LFS, it's going to actually start doing the Going to the configure, going to the task. I want to switch gears to the second screen. In this one, I want to become LFS. So I can see that actually there's a log file that is being created. I can just do tail-f. I can see the temporary system is going to give me the time, date and time when it was executed, the seconds that actually elapsed from the beginning, and it's going to tell me as well the status of what file is actually working on. With that, I can detach my screen, close my SSL, and for my virtual machine, eventually, I can actually reattach the session. And right here, you can see the compilation on that. Still working with utils. This is going to continue growing and growing the tail on SLFS temp syslog, and it's going to show us all the progress on that. Create another session here. I would remember I can do temporary system. Let's do a little rep. Actually delete it. So let's pipe this to this. We start with bin utils, GCC, Linux, and it's going to continue doing all over the place, just like the book. So right here we can see we have a long way to go. So this is the time to stop the video, let this finish, and enjoy it. And after a little 2 or 3 hours, probably 4, depending on the speed of your system, you're going to be ending with this a message in this screen says, "Who's the man?" The log file is going to be full all the way until XC, which is the last package that is going to be installed. And the last part is you can see the progress depending on the log file. You can see how far are you going in the process. So I want to detach my screen at this point. There's no point, and I want to pause the video. I want to come back and resume when this temporary system is done. So with those actions, basically, we just cover until the section 1 and 2, 3 and 4, actually and 5 of the Linux from scratch. The next video is going to say it's building the basic software, which actually involves more files, and wraps the system configuration and make the system bootable. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. Look forward for the next file. Everything's available. You can actually feel free to test it. Right now we're stopping right here, but the videos are available. The scripts are available to continue. So feel free to make some comments, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Thank you and have a great day.